Okay, this is the first time I have been without my girls in a while, and so I wanted to film one of probably the most requested videos I've ever been requested, and it's about dog toys in Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes. Now, I was very cautious not to film this video in front of my daughter. Give me a second and I'll show you why. Because she received this beautiful creature in her OCC shoebox, and it came from PetSmart. This was not its tag. This one actually came on a dog, and the kiddo ripped it off, and so I picked it up off the ground. And that kiddo also loved his toy, just so you know. So there's both perspectives, and I'm going to share a lot about that. I actually have 2 pages of information to share on this topic, and I think it's a good one to cover, and it's important. But I didn't want to talk about this in front of my daughter because she loves this guy. She calls it her moo because she thinks it looks like a cow. And I don't want her to change her opinion of the toy because of what I'm going to share, because she loves it. It came in her shoebox. She still remembers her shoebox, and she thinks it's the greatest thing. So, can kids love the toy that is sent? Yes. But I'm going to give you guys a very broad perspective with a few different I'm going to share very in depth about some things that happened this year. And it's going to be, I don't want to say controversial. I'm already struggling to talk about it because I don't want to be offensive. But this year, we had an interesting experience with dog toys in kids' shoeboxes. And when I originally touched on this topic, I hadn't experienced a dog toy coming in a shoebox, and so I didn't have a whole lot to say. My one tip in that first video was, if you wouldn't give it to your child, don't put it in a shoebox. And that still is a really good tidbit. That's a good piece of information. But I stated that, and that was my only statement because I had no personal experience with this issue. And I am calling it an issue now because of what happened here. So the first thing I want to do is, and I'm going to read it because I wrote this months ago. It is October 6th right now as I'm filming this. But I wrote this right after it happened so that I wouldn't forget. But I haven't had a chance without my kiddos to be able to film it. So I'm going to read what I wrote because honestly at this point I can't even remember what I wrote. And I want to give you guys the most honest perspective that I can. So here are a few things that happened this year, personal experience of dog toys arriving in shoeboxes. I'm just going to read that first and then I'll add things. I was about to throw in something else, but let's read this first. Number 1, our daughter got one. It wasn't easily notable as a dog toy. If you look at it right now, it just looks like a plush. It wasn't notable as a dog toy. But I knew it was a dog toy because it had the same type of PetSmart tag. So I, being an American, being from the United States, knew that it was a dog toy because it said PetSmart on it. Now, again, this one wasn't hers. Ours, I don't know. We probably threw it away at some point. But I did pick this one up in a shoebox after the fact, off the ground, that a kid had opened, and I was saving it for this video. So because I saw that tag, me as the mom, knew that it was from PetSmart, but nobody else around me knew. Nobody knew what PetSmart is. It doesn't say anywhere on it that it is a dog toy. It says, when you purchase this toy, you help support PetSmart charities, missions, finding lifelong loving homes for pets, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it mentions pets, but unless you know the brand, unless you know the store, and it says it in French, it says plush toy, but it doesn't say, so in English it says plush toy, in French it says plush toy. It doesn't say it's a dog toy. Okay, so that's the first thing. It still had the PetSmart tag, so I instantly knew what it was. She did not know, and nobody else could tell. Prior to our daughter receiving her box, I had asked my husband what he would think if our daughter had gotten a dog toy. Because I asked him for the other video, I was like, what would you think? What would you think if our daughter got a dog toy? At this point, it was hypothetical. It hadn't happened. And you know what my husband's first response was? He said, I would be offended. It would be offensive to me if my daughter got a dog toy. He said, we wouldn't give our child a dog toy, so the idea that someone else would give her something made for a dog was not appropriate. Again, it wasn't a heated conversation. It wasn't like, oh, I would be so, but no, it was, I haven't thought of that. But if someone gave our child a dog toy, that's how I would feel. Second thing that happened, once she received a dog toy, it was interesting. Our reaction from the very start was a bit bummed. It wasn't something that we would gift our daughter. But since she had it and loved it, we never said anything to her. To this day, she has no idea that this is meant for a dog. Never said anything to her or about it. Multiple people at church actually made comments about how pretty her unicorn stuffy was. And to this day, nobody knows that this is a PetSmart toy. Number 3, the third thing that happened with dog toys. So these are 3 experiences that we had. 1, prior to our daughter receiving it. 2, our daughter received it. 3, it was a Wednesday and I went to church early for women's group, and a woman came with her son. He had missed the event on Saturday. He didn't get a shoebox. She came to ask if he could have a shoebox. When this mom came, we opened a 2-year-old box. It was just her and I and her son at the church. I cut open the tape, brought her the 2-year-old box. In the box was a dog toy. It was a squeaky plushie. It was not one of these. It was one from the dollar store. And on the tag, it said, dog toy, jouet de, what is dog in French? I can't even remember now. I studied French for 7 years and that went out the window. But it said dog toy, literally dog toy in French, English, and Spanish. So the moment and I don't know what store it was from. I don't know if it was a dollar store toy. I don't know where it came from because I didn't recognize the brand. But the fact that it had a tag on it and the tag said dog toy in 3 languages, she was so offended. Like, I cannot even begin to explain the offense she took that I had the audacity. Because she blamed me. I am the representative of the church. I'm the one that just opened a box to hand her child a toy. And she opens it, and the thing on top, and the first thing she notices in giant words to her in English, Spanish, and French is that I just treated her child like a dog. That was how she thought of it. She was so angry at me. So who took the brunt of the anger? I did, because I was the one who gave her child a dog toy. In that instance, she didn't care that hundreds of thousands of people pack shoeboxes and they get sent. No. In her mind, I gave her child a dog toy, if that makes sense. I'm literally shaking a little bit as I tell this because I still remember, and I felt so bad in that moment. Like, I wanted to cry just seeing the offense that was on this woman's face. And again, normally, I'm going to pause. Normally, I don't share these types of things because I don't want a bad taste in our mouth about this project, because it is a beautiful, beautiful project and it has so much good. But because I've been asked so much about this question, this is why I thought it was so important to take the time to share these 3 experiences that we had. 2 of them were ours, and then one, I experienced it, but it happened to another mom and her son. But it was because of these that I think it is so important to share this perspective. So, it had a tag in 3 different languages, English, Spanish, and French, that stated that it was a dog toy. She was very offended and actually left the toy behind. She literally, in that moment, I don't want to say threw it, but she put it on the chair and said, "We're done," and walked out. And I tried to stop her and I was like, "Hold on, I am so sorry." I tried to explain. The moment for her was heated, so she didn't want to hear anything. She was very upset. I tried to explain to her, "Let me get a different box. Let me make it up to you. I'm so sorry. I didn't pack the box. I really apologize. these are not meant to have dog toys in them. They're meant to have toys for kids. Give me a second. Let me get a new box. She didn't even want a new box. She just wanted to go. She didn't want to be there. She didn't want to hear what I had to say. She just wanted to go. And so she left behind the toy. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't one of these. It was a little, like, almost canvas type material. It was a little toy. And she left it behind. And like 30 minutes later, I was still flustered and sad and bummed because she had walked out. And 30 minutes later, the moms started showing up, or the women in our church started showing up for Bible study. And they could tell like something was off. And the first one that got there was actually one of our volunteers. And I told her about it. And I was like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I feel so bad. I don't have this mom's contact information. I don't even know who it is. I don't know what to say. I still remember our volunteer showing up and trying to explain it to her. And I felt so bad. But that mom had made a comment that she couldn't believe that our child, this is the comment that stuck to me. She couldn't believe that our church would treat her child like a dog, would treat her child like an animal. And how do you come back from that? I get that some people might say she overreacted. I get that. I'm not defending her, but I am sharing her experience. This is what happened, and this is how it made her feel. And I think it's important to realize that that's what happened. This is how that particular woman was made to feel. And it was, in a sense, our fault that she felt that way, if that makes sense. She made that comment that she couldn't believe that our church would consider her child worthy of just a dog toy, implying that we treated her child second class. We treated her child like it wasn't like her child wasn't worthy of receiving kids' toys. Again, I tried to give her another box. I apologized profusely, explaining that we don't pack the boxes, that we have no idea what's inside the box until we cut that tape and they open it. We don't even open it before we hand it to the child. Literally, I cut it and I hand it to him. It's taped, it's sealed. I didn't know what was in there. I'm so sorry. She rejected the replacement of the box, took the remaining items in her box, so she did take what was left in that box, and she left. Neither her nor her son have returned to the church. I haven't seen them in the community, haven't seen them. I still remember her face and that child's face. If I saw them again, I would know who it was. So unfortunately, I can't continue to share the gospel with that family. That family is, I don't have more contact with them. Again, originally I didn't give much of an opinion on this topic because I hadn't experienced it in person. When I first addressed the topic, I did mention the best advice was don't give anything you wouldn't give to your own child. But my opinion has gotten a bit firmer after seeing various boxes with dog toys this year. Those were just 2 instances. We had probably 4 or 5 of these plushes show up, so I know 4 or 5 kids got PetSmart toys. We had one that got those like super hard tennis balls that have paw prints on them. So you go, hopefully don't realize that those are dog toys. Like they're branded for dogs. They have dog paw prints on them. We had a lot of dog toys come in this year, and I was actually surprised because when that person asked the question, we've done OCC multiple times. I had never seen a dog toy, and this year, like I won't say we were inundated with them, but there were a lot more dog toys than I expected to see. Sorry, I'm literally like shaking and have just the anxiety of that mom and kid. So I'm trying to calm down before I continue this video because I still have a whole nother page of information to share. Okay. We had 5 or 6 of these large PetSmart plushies. I will say all the kids that got them loved them. And thankfully, no parents, except me, realized that they were meant for dogs. Even so, knowing the kids loved them, I still would never personally send one of these in a shoebox because they are meant for dogs, not kids. It's really important to realize, and I didn't realize this until someone made a comment on that last video that I made, that dog toys do not go through the same testing or have the same standards, quality standards, as children's toys. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that. I never even thought of that because I've never thought to give my kid a dog toy. So think about this. Dog toy regulations. I actually looked this up online. This is what Google told me. So it says U.S. toy makers follow a mandatory set of safety rules and regulations under the ASTM F963 Standard Consumer Safety Specification for Safety Toy, or for toy safety. It's a very long protocol. Created under the ASTM International. Since 1986, it's been considered the gold standard in toy safety and is emulated around the globe. In the U.S., however, there are no specific federal or state laws to exclusively regulate the manufacturing or sale of dog toys. However, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, CPSC, does oversee general safety requirements for consumer products, which may apply to dog toys if they pose a hazard to humans. Many retailers and manufacturers voluntarily adhere to similar standards as those for children's toys. So it's not guaranteed, but some of them do adhere to standards. There are, however, no specific pet toy regulations. Unlike human products, there isn't a dedicated agency or set of laws solely focused on dog toy safety. CPSC oversight. The CPSC does have authority over consumer products, and if a dog toy poses a risk to humans, it may be subject to their regulations. Voluntary standards. Many larger retailers and manufacturers of dog toys have adopted safety and durability standards that are similar to those used for child toys. There is potential for future regulations. There's growing discussions and potential for the future legislation specifically addressing pet toy safety, but at this current time, there is none. Importance of responsible pet ownership. Because of the lack of specific regulations, pet owners are encouraged to be proactive in choosing safe toys for their dogs. This includes considering materials, construction, the potential hazards like small parts that could be swallowed. All that to say, they said that, like, be cautious for your dog. Also, if you're going to give a kid a dog toy, be cautious for kids. All that to say, dog toys are not meant to and do not abide by the standards needed for us to give them to children. So if you were to ask me today, should I or could I or may I put a dog toy in an OCC shoebox, I would urge you not to. One, because as I just read, based on the safety regulations, there's no regulations right now. We don't know what materials this was made out of. We don't know what dyes they used. We don't know what it's stuffed with. We don't know if it's stuffed with refurbished materials. We don't know anything because there's no safety standards. So on that note, I would say no. And secondly, based off that one interaction with that one mom, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to risk the opportunity to share the gospel and have somebody feel the love of Christ, to feel like they got a second-class toy or they got a toy that wasn't meant for a child, if that makes sense. It's interesting how one experience can change your opinion on something and can make your opinion more polarized. Again, I don't want this to be a discouraging video, but I think it was definitely an important topic to talk about. And it's one that now strikes close to my heart because I still feel bad for that mom and that two to 4 year old. I don't know how old exactly her kid was. I wrote down 2 years and he was little. So this is probably one of the harder questions I've ever answered. Hopefully in the next couple videos of Q&As, it'll be lighter topics, but I love you guys. I am so glad that these OCC videos and these Q&A forums have become a great place for discussion. If you have any other questions or if you have any opinions on this topic, leave them down below. I think that's where I'm going to end this video. This one was a tougher video to film, I tell you what. But I love you guys, and I thank you guys for trusting my thoughts and opinions and continuing to ask questions so that we can make those shoeboxes even better for kids. We love you guys, and we will see you on the next video.